Welcome to the Spiritual Artist Podcast. This is Chris Miller. I invite you to join me as I interview artists from a variety of disciplines. We'll share powerful stories and lessons learned while making their art. Good day, spiritual artists. This is CJ Miller, the host of the Spiritual Artist Podcast. And as always, it's Sunday, and I've been doing a little thinking. And I wanted to share these thoughts with you and see if it gives you something to drive your day forward or provide for your week. So I was thinking, what calls you? What calls you? We spend so much time focused on what we think we need to do. And that's kind of what I did this morning. Everything is directed from our inner ego. I need to clean the house. I need to pay the bills. I need to buy this gift. So I started thinking, what if all these inner shoulds ought to be ignored, and instead we would be blessed to listen to what is brought to us? How do we know when something is brought to us? We know by the feeling of it. Feeling comes from your heart space. When we feel joy or excitement, we are drawn toward it. A sense of excitement challenges us and lets us entertain a new concept, and it kind of bypasses the thought process altogether. From a very early age, we're told to ignore any sort of craving, and that's not the sort of energy I'm talking about. So when I say something feels good, I'm not talking about that donut that I just ate. That is a craving. And a craving is an energy that somehow tells you that if you take it, if you consume it or have it, you will find peace. So I'm not talking about craving when I talk about this feeling of joy or excitement. You see, spirit speaks to us through excitement. In fact, when we listen to that inside voice, the intuition, it should always be speaking with excitement, with positivity, with love in mind. When something jumps in your head that is fearful or talking of lack or loss, that is not your intuition. That is not the inner voice at all. So we can tell when we are being inspired to act by what kind of emotional response our body gives us. So back to my story. I was sitting on the couch this morning, enjoying the last sips of my coffee and mentally creating a list of all those shoulds. I needed to finish course syllabus. I needed to do some yard work. I needed to make dinner. All of these feelings were a sort of craving, a craving of something that I needed to somehow achieve, somehow to be accepted. But as I sat there, surrounded by my 3 dogs and their excitement all directed towards the same bone, I noticed a painting sitting on the shelf across the room. It was a painting that I recently completed, and I'll be honest with you, I was really excited about it. Something about the colors and the composition, it all came together perfectly, and I decided to focus on that. And so as I sat there on that couch, that painting was calling to me. It was saying, come back, find more joy, do more like me, go this way, explore this new composition and technique. Wouldn't that be fun? Interesting, isn't it? What's the difference between craving and excitement? So recently I've begun reading a book. I got it from my last interview, and I recommend that you go listen to it. But recently I was recommended to read The Soul's Code by James Hillman. I've only finished the first chapter, but I already was introduced to a concept that was kind of new to me. It says that we come into this world with a unique destiny, and if we look backward, we can see that everything that has happened to us is leading us toward that destiny. He calls this force a daimon, Daimon. It's from a Greek term. I was like, this is a strange term. Does it mean devil? It does not mean devil at all. The daimon, the daimon is actually the inner guiding force or destiny each person has. It's a calling that shapes your life. Hillman's theory suggests that every individual has a unique essence, a daimon, which includes the blueprint for their potential. This daemon acts as a guardian, pulling the person toward their purpose. So I want you to pay attention to that. It acts as a guardian, pulling the person to their purpose. That's what excitement does. Excitement pulls us, not in fear, not in fear or lack, but in genuine excitement. It is a calling. I was being called to paint something today. There are other terms like this you've heard before called character, fate, your genius, your soul, your destiny. They're all sort of the same thing. So I want you to ask yourself, how are you prepared to go about today? Are you going to focus on the things that are ego based or fear based, or are you going to focus on excitement? Ask yourself this question right now. Take a moment and answer this question. What action is speaking to me right now through excitement? What action is speaking to me right now through excitement? What if I put all those shoulds aside just for today and follow the excitement? So I know we have a lot of shoulds in our life, and this is a long week, but why don't you start this week and make the commitment that today, this day, you will actually do something of excitement, in the state of excitement. Just one thing. You can still go back to all your shoulds. You can return to all those things you have to do. You know, but let's see what happens. And then tell me, how was it? What pulled you with excitement? In my book, The Spiritual Artist, I have a different term for the very same essence. I call it your intelligence of being. And I use a cantaloupe to describe how that cantaloupe has an intelligence within it that guides it to grow and spread across a field and bear fruit. Everybody has a unique intelligence within you. It is that unique code of who you are. So, today, there is an excitement calling you somewhere. Are you willing to follow? Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Artist Podcast. Please share this with your friends. Check back in with me later this week. And you go out there and do and be a spiritual artist. Thanks again for listening to the Spiritual Artist Podcast. Whether you're watching this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or iHeartRadio, make sure you choose the subscribe button so that you will receive updates when new segments are released. Most importantly, be still, listen, and know that you are a spiritual artist.